I drove up to the top of this mound and there's nowhere to turn around. Hi guys, it's your friendly frigid desert cul-de-sac Sarah here with another car review. Hello, that's a mouthful. Behind me is a 2019 Acura RDX A-Spec SH all-wheel drive. A very long title, I know. Before we get started, I just want to say if you've never seen one of my car reviews before, there's a link up on the ceiling of this car to a video that I did on a review of my own 2015 Subaru Forester XT, which is relevant to this review because I have a fetish for performance crossovers. Kind of a weird fetish to have, I guess. Anyway, when the opportunity arose to do the review on this 2019 RDX A-Spec, I kind of jumped on it just because I was intrigued by the fact that this thing shares a similarity with the power plant found in the new Civic Type R. But I'll get to that a little bit later when we talk about the nerdy tech specs of the vehicle. Real quick, going over the interior in here, I have to say the seats stood out to me first when I jumped in this car. Kind of gives it this weird sporty tracksuit vibe. Don't ask why I thought it looked like a tracksuit. That's just what I thought instantly. I have to say this is absolutely brilliant. To fold down the back seats, all you do is you pull this lever, boom, boom. How awesome is that? That is so smart. And then you got this little storage cubby. That's deep. I bet you could put ice and chickens in there. I do like how the touchpad for the infotainment system has this little rest right in front of it, so that way you can put your arm and it just flows from the center console right to where you would change from drive to neutral to reverse to park. I love how the dynamic mode adjustment knob is right above that though. The button placement throughout the interior is well thought out, and there wasn't much of a learning curve in terms of driving this car when I first got in it and learning where all the features and switches and dials for stuff that you would need when you're driving a car are at. For just under $47,000, I feel you're definitely getting your money's worth as far as tech features go. It has heated and cooled seats, Apple CarPlay, navigation, you have lane keep assist, radar cruise control. The ELS Studio 3D sound system they put in the RDX is actually pretty banging. I like it. I've never heard of ELS Studio before. Maybe I'm new, I don't know. The dual eye LED headlights and LED fog lamps, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. They're so popular that you see these headlights retrofitted into other vehicles. People actually buy that LED array that is found in the headlights on these and they stick them in other vehicles. Speaking of exterior styling, this is one of the better looking crossovers in my opinion on the market right now. It has this kind of aggressive, I may be a soccer mom, but I haven't given up on driving a sports car vibe to it. Thank you, Acura, for not using fake exhaust tips on the back of this. And they're good looking tips too. They're kind of big and meaty looking. Urgh. Unfortunately though, the sound coming out of them is kind of weak sauce. Where are you? Open sesame. Time to get nerdy. That really hurt my left knee. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, I have the car in the garage. This is the segment where we talk about the tech specs and get nerdy under the hood. And honestly, it's just my favorite part of the review because you don't see it in other car reviews. I don't really know why, but this is the kind of stuff I care about when I'm spending $47,000 on a vehicle. The part that a mechanic will have to deal with. So under the hood of this bad chicken is Honda's K20 C4. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Honda Acura engine lineup, the K-Series is notorious for being rock solid engines. Coming from a mechanic's perspective, I find this to be less intimidating to work on for the fact that it is a Honda Acura K-Series engine with the turbocharger located in front, which makes it a lot easier to access. Ooh, it's warm. Versus when it's in the rear and you have to fight over the drive shaft and the transfer case, and then you also have your exhaust routing, so it makes it really difficult to access the turbo when it's located in the rear side of the engine. However, up front here, you have plenty of room to work on it. And that's what intrigued me about the RDX A-Spec, the fact that it has this engine paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, not a CVT, and matched with Acura's super handling all-wheel drive system, which allows up to 70% of the power to be transferred to the rear wheels and 100% to be varied left to right with the torque vectoring system. The K20C4 found in this RDX produces 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque, which is available as early in the RPM band as 1600 RPM. This K20C4 shares a lot of the underpinnings from the Civic Type R, which is offered with the K20C1. A little bit higher output, and there's differences all throughout the head and the block between the two engines, and the turbo itself is different too, but they're loosely based on the same engine. This might not matter to the average consumer looking at buying one of these, but if you're a car enthusiast and you're looking at a crossover for a daily driver, and you have the thought of possibly modifying one because you're that type of a person, kind of like this girl over here that modified her Forester XT. I don't know why it's so intriguing to me to modify crossovers. I just think it's funny when you pull up the set of lights in your crossover and people expect you to just be your stereotypical bougie soccer mom in a fancy looking crossover, and then the light turns green and you treat them to a fancy dinner at Gapplebee's. It's a turboed K-Series in an all-wheel drive crossover. To me, the sky's the limit with potential that this might have for modding it. And I know, why would you mod a crossover? Because it's kind of the best of both worlds when you have an SUV and a sports car. You combine the two, you have something that's sporty and fun to drive and can still haul your friends in the back and drive up random grassy mounds in the middle of nowhere. Well, this is interesting. I drove up to the top of this mound and there's nowhere to turn around. Now, this does not have the 360-degree field of view camera like some of the competitors might, but it does have the park sensors, sonar sensors to detect when there's an object nearby. Now, this is where I would want a front-facing camera to go down a steep hill like this. Didn't expect this to be an off-road review. I was just trying to get some pretty B-roll for you guys up there in the snow. Wow. Not bad. Considering the tires that are on this, not too bad. Quick acceleration test. I'm on a rather wet, gravelly, dirty road right now, so this is gonna be a real-world test of the bean factor. If I had some instruments to measure actual 0 to 60 and stuff, I would do that, but I don't have the instruments, so you just have to go off the look on my face at the acceleration. So it's in Sport Plus, and we're just going to mash the gas, no launch, and see how it accelerates. Ready? Go. A little bit of a lag, not bad. Short shifts below red line. Shifts nice and quick and smooth. It's not bad. It's not bad. When it's in comfort, it gives you everything you would want out of being a luxury crossover without sacrificing performance. If I were just mad at right now in comfort mode, okay, there's a little bit of a lag. But when you put it in the Sport Plus mode, which I have it in now, this thing becomes aggressive in a good way. I like it. So 10-speed auto, downshift it a little bit, holds gear. Notice it's holding the RPMs throughout the corner. I'm so thankful that Acura used this 10-speed auto and not a CVT. Yes, I'm pointing fingers at you, Subaru, who just recently discontinued the turbo version of the Forester. Why? Why did you drop the XT, Subaru? Yes, I'm salty right now and I'm looking at other brands for my next replacement. I'm just joking, I could never get rid of Forester Gump. Anyway, the 10-speed auto in this thing is phenomenal, and I love the fact from a tuner perspective that you don't have to worry about modding this thing as much as you would a CVT. A CVT just has a set limit of when the chain will start to slip, and I don't want to hate hate on them, but this is way more engaging and more fun to drive than a CVT. It doesn't have the slingshot engage effect that you get with a CVT. I think Acura nailed it by pairing this engine with this transmission in an all-wheel drive system. It makes for a really engaging, fun to drive vehicle. As far as fuel economy goes though, since I have had the RDX A-Spec with mixed driving, I've been averaging 21.9 miles per gallon. If you've never seen one of my reviews before, I do what's called a bean score, and it's a rating of 1 to 5 beans based on the inertia you feel on your stomach when you accelerate. So A-Spec Rocky over here is going to get 1.5 beans. It's quick, but there's room for improvement, and that's what I love about this RDX A-Spec. If you're one of those weirdos like myself that likes to tune and modify crossovers, I see a lot of potential in this. Turbo K-Series and all-wheel drive? Yes, please. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. I'll see you soon with another. Bye. Just to show you guys, I was making an effort to try to block the wind noise out here. I took both of my socks off and I stuck them over the wind filter on my microphone just because I couldn't get good audio out here because it's so windy. So I tried.